everybody, exciting announcement. And I tried to do this video earlier, like twice, live on YouTube, and I don't know, the stream wasn't working and my caffeine hadn't kicked in, and it was a mess. So I'm just going to record this as a video and then upload it. So if you've seen this announcement like 3 times now, apologies, you can skip this one. So anyhow, my exciting announcement is I wrote a book, and it's an actual paperback. It's a real book with like real pages and real stuff in it and everything. This one is actually the wacky, says do not for resale. This is the not for resale copy. And so I don't know, you can order, if you write a book, you can order an author proof. And of course I ordered mine before it was actually perfect. So now I have this funny copy that says like not for sale and has like overly big text in it. So I don't know, this is an unperfect copy, but it's my copy. But the copies that you would get online are the, I don't know, we're gonna put perfect in quotations because we all know there's probably at least one funny typo or something in there since I wrote it, but that way you know I really wrote it. So anyhow, this is my book. I'm so excited. You can get it on Amazon currently, on either Kindle if you are a Kindle junkie like myself. I'm always, I don't know why I'm embarrassed. I'm always like kind of embarrassed how many books. I'm always reading like 3 books at one time. If we're being honest, like it's kind of a problem. I'm usually reading some sort of like an indie business book and like a trashy romance novel and then maybe like a serious, more philosophical piece. So I don't know, I'm usually, you can tell it's the schizophrenic part of my personality as far as my reading, but I always have like 3 books going, I feel like, on on Kindle. So you can get it either on Kindle, or if you want an actual paperback copy, you can get one of those too. And I am going to be moving towards getting these in bookstores. I don't know, we might do a hardback. I might do an accompanying journal if that would be useful to people, because it is a business book more. So, you know, more things coming. I'm definitely not just throwing it out there and then not doing anything with it, but I had some announcements that this was sort of the first big domino in kind of a series of other things that are going on. So anyhow, that's domino number 1. As mentioned, one thing I have learned in work and in business is, well, life in general, but usually you have, anytime there's a big change coming, you have like one thing that is like the first thing that you got to knock over, and then after that it kind of starts a chain reaction of other things that all then feel like they have to be done all at like the exact same moment, which is difficult when you also have kids and a husband and, you know, a full-blown business you're running and the mail and all of that going on. So I have been really busy the past couple of weeks, so I'm sorry if I've been a bit MIA, because it was like the book came, there was all the stuff with trying to get the book like edited and the formatting, and like, oh my goodness, if you have any questions on getting a book out, like let me know, because I just did all of it. But formatting's a whole thing. So I just did all of that, and so then I was so excited when I finally got it out, and then I was kind of like, oh, now I have to do all these other changes, just because I like things to be consistent. Like I am not a perfectionist in so many areas, but consistency is one of my weird things. I really like things to be consistent. So my, I guess, first big announcement is you may notice if you get emails from me or any of my social media, but mainly if you get emails or if you're at my website, you may notice that, like I said, the name of the book is Feral, and I will not bore you with going into why. You'll just have to be curious and go find that out yourself. But I have a background in not just fiber arts. I've honestly, I don't know, I have a bit of a confession to make. While I do love that so many of you have loved all of my fiber arts content, and I don't want to sound self-disparaging here, because I feel like what my particular niche in the fiber arts is helping people that have had trouble with it. Maybe like they weren't learning the way other people were teaching, like it just wasn't clicking. I feel like because I'm a bit of an oddball the way I learn, that I'm able to teach people in a way that they understand. So I like I said, I'm not meaning to sound disparaging here, because I'm so proud of all my fiber arts content, and there's still going to be lots of fiber arts content, but my actual background is in art history and anthropology and more like arts curation. I used to work in art galleries, fine art galleries in Charleston, South Carolina, back before we moved. That's what my degrees are in. That's what my background is in. The first thing I ever really wanted to do when I was in high school, me and an ex-boyfriend had plans. We wanted to open like kind of an indie, like music and arts and literary, kind of like an indie arts place. So business-wise, that was probably, we're really looking way back in my my previous lore, that is probably the first like real big business dream I had. And then, you know, of course, that's when you're like 16, and then you're, you know, everybody grows up and moves on and is like, oh, you don't actually end up doing what, you know, your 16-year-old self wanted to do. But that was definitely, obviously, I've fallen into sales. I am good at sales. If I do say so myself, I'm good at sales. I'm good at marketing. I have done so much just through building Crafty Housewife Yarns. I have done so many self-study sort of programs on sales and marketing, which have enriched my life so much, and I've learned so much. And one great thing about small business is, and I feel like sales in particular, but I feel like it really forces you to have to kind of work on yourself, to work on, like, you think you're starting out working on a business, but then it actually ends up that you end up working on yourself to work on the business. And then, I don't know, like I said, all of this you will find in my book. That's actually a lot of what this book is about, is I feel like I've had kind of this dirty little secret of everybody knows me for fiber arts content, but what I actually feel that I am most knowledgeable about is more of the arts promotion, art sales, marketing, indie business, that sort of thing is what I personally feel more qualified to talk about. That's my background and my passion, and definitely what I feel like is my strong suit. Whereas, like I said, the fiber arts has always been like a joy and a passion and a hobby, just like yoga is a joy and a passion and a hobby. I just, you know, haven't been throwing yoga facts at anybody, because I don't know, that could be fun. Maybe we'll start doing that. But as you see, like I said, I feel like I've been leading sort of a secret double life of, like, if I'm at a party or out with people or like moms somewhere, and, you know, somebody has like a side hustle or business or art or something like that comes up, like that is the thing that I'm way more likely, like, you're not going to find me at like a cookout bending somebody's ear on yarn. You will probably find me at a cookout bending somebody's ear about my passion for small businesses. So, I wanted to write this book. It's both on, I don't know, the topics of this book definitely vary. This book, the topics vary from advice just to mothers in general. Like I said, y'all know I have 2 kids, and I don't have any brothers and sisters, so I felt like when I had kids, you know, I kind of had to figure it out myself. And we didn't live near family, so I mean, it was really like me and my husband, and we had kids and just kind of had to, I felt like the person I'd been trying to be died, and then I had to kind of refine myself somewhere with children, and having a business was a great source of not having postpartum depression for me. And I know I've talked about that a little bit in the past. That's how Crafty Housewife Yarns ever started, was, you know, I was home with my first daughter as a baby, and you know, I'd always been working kind of odd jobs, and so that's kind of how I got into having you know, my own business. Was it started out like everybody does, as more of a hobby or something to keep you busy, but I feel like so many people, sorry, there was a giant robin, I got distracted. So many people, we need something to kind of buoy yourself to, especially in kind of like that new mom transition. So Feral is a great combination of kind of losing yourself, finding yourself. My advice to moms or younger women, both my age or younger, or anybody, I guess it doesn't matter what age you are, that are kind of going through having to do some like shadow work on yourself, as well as actual concrete business tips. So it is kind of divided into 2 parts. It has lots of chapters, but so the first part is more on personal development through having a business. And then the second part, I'm trying to even get to where it is, the second part is much more brass tacks. It even has, here we go. So we have practical indie business resources, product lines, email funnels, and becoming Lux Online. So then I put, and I'll probably, if we're just being honest, I probably will expand in a second book more on brass tack stuff. But this was like, if I had to, because I didn't want this to be too big. I wanted, these were my first, most easily digestible things I thought would help somebody. And I promise, I'm trying to find what I'm looking for. Oh, I guess it's not actually in this one. The actual copy that is for sale, that was one of the things I added, is that I actually have diagrams. So I have diagrams, you know, graphs and things like that, actual images in the book that is the actual published book, not this crazy, not draft book I have. So it is both a mindset, losing yourself, finding yourself, motherhood, businesses, and balance as being like a mom or a caretaker, and owning your own business, as well as like practical advice, which I have definitely I've definitely learned a lot on, as far as email funnels, email list, ads, marketing, branding, all the things. So I have both of those things in there, and obviously those are lots of different topics. So my announcement, I guess, is if you go to my website now, and it doesn't matter which URL you put in, craftyhousewifeyarns.com or Feral Scene, FERALSCENE, like art scene. My husband helped me come up with the name because I suck at naming things. He actually named both our kids too, because I'm bad at naming things. So I loved it because it was a combination of, I wanted something vague that wasn't overly pigeonholed. So that was kind of my my beef, so to say, with the original name. So yeah, I mean, Crafty Housewife Yarns, and like I said, if you want the full story, read the book. Started as, like I said, just kind of something fun for me to do to like literally make an extra $20. I was actually selling physical items, and they were mainly knitted things that I had knitted or crocheted from like vintage or retro inspired or actual vintage patterns. So they were like hats and like boot cuffs and gloves, and I sold them both on Etsy as well as in like kind of some funky little boutiques in Washington where we used to live. So that's where the name came from, was Crafty Housewife Yarns. It was yarn. It was, I was going for a double entendre there, with crafty being both, you know, like smart or clever, as well as crafts, and then it's made out of yarn. So, you know, I don't know. It was what it was. It was just meant to be kind of a joke, and it made much more sense, is my point there, with the retro and vintage patterns and knitwear. So that made more sense. And I was not wanting me to be, this was pre-YouTube, pre-Spinolution, pre-spinning yarn, actually. It was pre all of that. So that's where the name came from. And I'm a loyal person, so then once, you know, I just never changed it. Despite people thinking it was sexist and not liking it and nobody getting my joke, and, you know, I just never changed it. And like I said, once again, more of this is in the book. Me 10 years ago, when I started this, because my oldest daughter's 10, would be thrilled with where I am now and what the business has become now. And I owe all of that to everybody who's remotely paying attention to me talking right now. So thank you. But as you see, where it started with like retro knitwear is very different from where I'm at now, as far as the Spinolution, the marketing work I do, because I also am like I work for Spinolution Wheels as far as the marketing, as well as being a dealer, like marketing and customer service. Then of course the spinning fiber, and then the subscriptions and courses, which is what I feel like all of you probably know me for. And so none of that really fit necessarily with the name. And when I became an official LLC, just for tax purposes, my official LLC was, God, it was so long. Crafty Housewife Yarns and Fiber Arts LLC. So you can see that, I mean, oh my God, like even my email address, I've gotten so tired of typing because it's like Erin at craftyhousewifeyarns.com. And so it's just, long story short, I've just gotten lazy. So I thought this was a great opportunity, and I'm really good at when, you know, I don't know, I get like hunches from God, and I feel like the Almighty slaps me on the head and is like, you should do this, or you should do that. I'm pretty good at following these hunches, and when I was coming out with this book, I just had this really strong feeling that I was like, I need to kind of restructure. That this was kind of a pivoting in giving me more flexibility and options, and so I wanted to restructure things. But then I also was like, well, I've spent 10 years building this brand that I'm proud of, and I'm happy with, and that I like my logo, and, you know, I like my website, and I don't want people to think that we quit or that it died or, you know, anything like that. Because, I mean, I am super proud that, you know, despite COVID and quarantine and politics and business and all the things, I am incredibly proud that Crafty Housewife Yarns is still here and still kicking and still doing great. And we've grown and things are wonderful. So I'm so proud of that. So I didn't want it to look like we'd quit being a thing. So basically what is happening is I have restructured. So just like how last year, kind of unceremoniously, without me really planning, but it was a good decision, Crafty Housewife Yarns absorbed the My Local Wool website. And if there's videos on this, so go look that up if you want all the tea on what happened there. There's a little bit of drama. But we absorbed My Local Wool. The website is now the index, so you can find the farmers, which was the only part I really cared about anyway. Has been on the Crafty Housewife Yarns website for a year now. So I did sort of the similar thing of I just renamed, I guess, my LLC. So my main company that I own is now Feral Scene LLC. And so I have rebranded slightly, but Crafty Housewife Yarns is still a thing. So basically you can find Crafty Housewife Yarns being the fiber arts branch of my business. My Spinolution dealership, which has really, if we're being honest, has always been its own separate thing. So just like, I don't know, I guess if somebody owns a Ford dealership, you have a Spinolution dealership. So my Spinolution dealership is a thing. Crafty Housewife Yarns, all the subscription, the cottage industry, yarn and fiber, all of that, absolutely, and the courses, none of that is going away. So that is all still there. It's exactly the same. If you get our stuff, you're still going to get our stuff. Nothing has changed. And then My Local Wool, which, like I said, is the farmer index, and, you know, just making, it's a free way for people to find local wool, farmers, fiber artists, etc. That's still on there too. So basically all three of those things, and whatever crazy thing I may dream up in the future, can all happily reside under the umbrella of my newly renamed LLC and company, Feral Scene. And so I'm excited about that. I just feel like, 1, it's easier to type. 2, it's easier to say. 3, I can now not have, when I'm talking to people about like art or indie business, craft business, marketing, that sort of thing, I now have less confusion when they go, oh, great, what's your company? And then I go, oh, it's this. And then they're like, well, that doesn't have anything like yarn. And then I get confused looks. So it's basically to cut down on the confused looks and the amount of typing I have to do. So that's the story there. And I do plan on, I really loved writing this book, and I have a very extensive fiber arts and indie business blog at this point in time. I forget how many posts are on there. There's so many posts. So I clearly enjoy writing. I enjoy traveling and logging, you know, the arts of different things. I want to be able to do more on advising people, because I already have some videos from a few years ago on, you know, like shipping and websites and email, a few sort of starter craft business video topics that are actually very popular videos on my YouTube channel. I definitely want to expand on that more, just because I have more to say about it. I mean, I can only, for me personally, I can only talk about how to drop spindle so many times. And I feel like I've covered the amount of fiber arts that, you know, and I don't mean like if I go to an exhibit or if there's a new book or if I meet a new person. I'm not saying there won't be any more, because there definitely will be as things come up. But as far as just like beating the bushes, trying to come up with more content, I'm not there's so many people already like that on YouTube, and you know, that's their thing, and they can talk to the nth degree about, I don't know, whatever it is they're knitting. That's my hobby and enjoyment. That's not really something I want to get online and be like, I'm knitting this sweater, you know. That's just, for me personally, not where like my fire is at, I guess. So I wanted to be able to give myself more flexibility. And I know this video is getting very long at this point in time. If you're still here, thank you. But long story short, nothing's going away. Everything is staying. I've just renamed my company, which will be like the mother that takes care of all of the little brands underneath. And all the yarn and all the fiber and all the subscriptions. And, you know, if you enjoy our stuff and our subscriptions, please keep supporting us, you know, shameless plug. Because, you know, if you support my business, I'm supporting the people that are making the braids, the people that are making the bats. I'm supporting the farms that the fiber comes from. You know, I'm going to have more courses. We've got knitting courses. I've got spinning courses. Got a bunch of free content on the Yarn Cult section, so, you know, go check that out. There's so much fiber art, so please don't stop thinking of fiber arts when you think of me, because that is still, like, a humongous large part of, you know, what I do. So, you know, keep pigeonholing me there, I guess. But I also, if you would like to know more about, like, you have a business, you'd like to get going, you want to start a business, you just had a baby and you're feeling lost in your life, please check out my book. Very proud of it. And I'm probably going to start going through, just because I want to, maybe kind of chapter by chapter, and doing some podcast or YouTube topics or blog topics, kind of chapter by chapter through here. So I just didn't want people to be totally confused about that. So anyhow, that's my announcement. So, you know, if you get emails that say Feral Scene instead of Crafty Housewife Yarns, it's like literally nothing changed. So just open the email. And both URLs work. So all the links still work. So if you Google Crafty Housewife Yarns, those are also still there too. So nothing changed. And thank you so much for listening to my announcements. And we'll step off my soapbox now and have a good one.